All right, turn this music off. Let's put some Trump on. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna try to do something different. I'm gonna try to, if you want to listen to, let me see if I could get, I'm gonna put Fox News, Fox News on, but I gotta find a channel because they keep taking them down from other people. So let me subscribe to
It's All American Week. This is great. That's a good
this
start to the
person.
show. Coming in the, what do you call that, a tank? Coming in the
multiple
Jeep?
tanks.
There we go.
Our firepower, as we know, our recruitment is down. So hopefully our show's showing what our guys can do with encouraging folks to join the military.
However, we asked them to do a really tough
Let's
job,
see.
so it is important and it's incumbent upon the United States government.
And this is a work in progress.
The best stuff, and as Brian was detailing with the Colonel, that's the newest.
We were about to see it. We'll show it to you later in the show.
Well, we got 3 hours. So we're gonna go ahead and.
No más cerveza.
Okay, in the meantime, let's get you started with some headlines that you need to know as you start your day. This is a Fox News alert. France says it is backing the International Criminal Court's decision to pursue arrest warrants against Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, along with other Israeli and Hamas leaders, over their military actions in the Middle East. France's foreign ministry saying, quote, France supports the International Criminal Court, its independence, and the fight against impunity in all situations. President Biden yesterday mistakenly claiming an American held by Hamas was with him during a White House.
Biden's a fucking idiot.
Administration working around the clock to free the remaining hostages, just as we freed hostages already. And here it is today, as Hirsch goes over to Poland, and he is not here with us, but he's still being held by Hamas.
Hirsch is one of the 5 known Americans that is still being held by hostages, or as hostages by Hamas. We've interviewed his parents before. All right, week 4 of testimony in the now infamous Karen Reed murder trial continues in court today. It follows a dramatic day of testimony.
I think I'm gonna put on
Emotions were high and witnesses clashed with defense attorneys.
Charlie Kirk, though. Fox and Friends is okay, but nobody does it like Charlie. And again, I just did this only because I need to get my watch hours in, and I want to try to pick up some subscribers for my tattoo channel. Then I can stop doing tattoos on this channel. This will be strictly Charlie Kirk and all the good shit.
Time out. I sat here with no notes.
Let's see, where's...
Originally from California, so don't hate me too much. I'm a very proud conservative, but so what would be the exact...
Today, government buildings and schools and banks are closed all across the country. They are closed because today is a national holiday.
Wait.
It's only one of 2 holidays in America that honors one specific American by name. Think about that. Only one of 2 holidays.
Hi, Mama.
Is of course George Washington, but we now just call it President's Day. It's his birthday. Now today, of course, we're talking about his Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We told people last week that we...
Okay, so one thing I want to start off with is, why does your opinion trump over any other people's opinion?
Right, so do you believe that there is a truth out there?
Everything is subjective, but there is a right or wrong morally, especially when you're in a culture and society that is based off a set of standards and norms that we act on and we act as.
So everything is subjective. So is it objectively true you and I are having a conversation right now?
Yes.
So that's not subjective. That's not everything is subjective.
So why do you believe morals?
Right, so something is objective.
Yes, but why do you believe your subjective opinion trumps over other people's opinion?
Well, let me ask you another question. I will answer.
Please don't interrupt me.
Well,
You can, no, let me finish my sentence. I do not want to hear. You think that your opinion is over other people's opinions. You think you're right subjectively. You
Okay.
think it's right or wrong.
Okay, is murder wrong?
Yes, of course.
Well, then abortion should be illegal. Answer the question.
What constitutes a human? What is a human?
Deoxyribonucleic acid and the
Well, to me, a human would be someone with a consciousness who is alive in
Yes,
this
well,
world. To
guess
you,
what? You're wrong. So
but
that's
no,
wrong.
you're wrong because I think that's right and you think that's
Prove
right.
it. Prove it wrong.
What constitutes a human being? What is the definition of a human being?
The creation of DNA that will never exist again, and a soul goes into that moment. I don't expect you
What's
guys.
a soul?
Soul.
What's a soul?
What is a soul?
What is a soul?
The eternal, indistinguishable, let's just say,
Ah.
non-visible being of your existence.
I don't believe that. I don't believe anything. Yeah, you
That's not, here's the thing, at some point, somebody's truth has to win. Because guess what? Your truth doesn't matter.
But
That's
guess
still a
what?
truth
You've
claim.
had your truth in this country for the past thousands of decades. You're
Thousands of
not
decades.
thousands, whatever. But like your truth has been the narrative of this country forever. And you think
Roe
yes,
v.
so
Wade
what
just
truth
got
is true?
repealed. Abortion was legal in this country for 40 years.
And before the 40 years, what was
And crime dropped
Thankfully
40%
illegal.
after
And
that.
Okay, hold on. Do you think abortion lowers crime rates?
Crime dropped 40% after abortion became legal.
Why is that the case?
It's called a statistic.
Who has the most abortions in America?
Men.
Black people. Is that so? Are you trying to say the termination of blacks in the rule lowers crime?
Ooh.
That's a very racist argument.
Okay.
You know blacks have 49% of blacks. You guys can come up and talk. Yeah, it's like 95 degrees up here. So, yes, sir. No, you're the racist. You're the says that abortion lowers crime rates and blacks have the most abortions in the country. Yes. Not name calling. Wait, is it not Black Lives Matter or is it African American Lives Matter? Oh, really? Okay, I thought it was BLM, so I say blacks. Okay.
He was just, oh, okay, not too much, Andrew. Do you believe that you have some sort of privilege that skews your view on other people's lives? Because personally, I don't believe you can step in my shoes as a black woman and relate and understand the things. So I feel like it's not fair for you to choose what I get to do with my life because I'm a black woman in a white society.
Well, what does being black have to do with truth?
Because there are different things that we experience,
Like
and
what?
my truth might not be like
What, did you get into college easier than I do? Yes, you get jobs and internships that white kids don't get.
Oh,
You
we're
have,
white people.
you have entire movements dedicated to your race.
We're so like, okay.
Those movements are to get violence. You're crazy.
Do you not believe in racism?
Of course racism exists. The Democrat Party is still alive and well.
Do you think people are racist against white people?
All the time. All the time.
That's his
Affirmative
definition.
action is racism against white people. Yes.
Okay.
And Asians as well.
And Asians, that's right.
So I do have a question in that sense. If affirmative action is racism, why are most colleges predominantly white?
Why are they most predominantly white?
Why are most colleges, public colleges, are predominantly
Yeah,
white?
we're a majority white country. You realize that, right? So colleges are the depiction of the nation. And actually,
Okay.
blacks on campus are disproportionate more than their population in certain areas, in certain campuses, than their population. Because of affirmative action.
In HBCUs? Is that
Certain campuses.
Are you talking about HBCUs?
So let me just ask you a more broad philosophical question. Why does skin color matter at all? Why should we care about it?
Because it's society.
What? What? No.
We're dismissing anything that has ever happened to someone.
Let me ask you a question. What can you do? Or what can I do that you can do? What law?
I love him.
It's funny because he does not care.
Nope. He said he tells the truth.
No, it's not. It's the way it works. Yeah, it's the way it works. I'm not going to entertain fallacies. Why is it?
Just let it go. We have to hear your guess.
Why does skin color matter?
I believe skin color matters because of the society we are in. And I guess it goes into critical race theory.
Yes, it is.
Because of the society we have lived in, race is a factor. If
from the beginning of time, race wasn't a factor, and there was never anybody who was oppressed because of their race, I feel like it would not play a part in anything that we do. But because in the U.S.
They were interrupting you. I was.
You believe about black on black crime?
Do I believe in black on black crime?
What?
It's abundant.
Explain.
Yeah, it's the #1 cause of death in many black communities. I'm just being honest. Like,
So do you, so back to our previous argument.
That white girl needs you to shut up.
So in the sense of.
She is just an idiot. That is ignorance.
Like because of the history and because somebody, races have been oppressed, you don't believe like race plays a part in things and you don't believe like.
no, that's not true. So, you know who Thomas Sowell is? You know who Thomas Sowell is?
Yeah.
I really encourage you to look. Thomas Sowell's great. He's one of the best black economists of the 20th century. Grew up in Harlem, and he's done the best research in the 1940s, 1950s, and 60s in black communities. And essentially, his argument is that black America was experiencing a renaissance in the 50s and 60s, despite discrimination. Yes. Now, the one part that I would agree with.
But however, it's not the black community as a whole, it's Harlem, black community.
There, Chicago too, but let's pretend you're right. Okay? The one argument that I would agree with, and I'm against systemic racism arguments, the one that I would say, you know what, there was something very wrong, is when Democrat Lyndon Baines Johnson came in and destroyed the black nuclear family. If there was one part where I could say, you know what, that was unjust and that has to be undone, it's when Lyndon Baines Johnson went in with the Great Society program with the intent to destroy the black nuclear family.
Okay. So in that sense, do you believe the war on drugs also played a part? Or
Not
do you
really.
not believe in the war on drugs?
Well, look, I mean, I believe we should be very harsh on drugs. But I think I would give some merit to the argument of some government agencies for peddling cocaine in the inner cities. There is evidence to show that. And I'm not going to debate it. So I think it has so for example, like there's one number that I'm fascinated with, right? Single motherhood in the black community was about 28% in 1945. Okay? Now it's around 65 to 70%. Why? Are we more racist than we were in 1945?
No.
Okay, so then what happened?
The war on drugs.
Okay, fair enough.
Demolishing the nuclear family in a sense.
Right,
And I
agree.
believe due to the history that's happened, racism is still very prevalent in a lot of the a lot of the systems that are in America, correct?
Yeah. So no, of course not. But I was actually caught by your shirt. You know Malcolm X was super pro-life.
Yes.
I think Malcolm X could teach a lot of the black movement something, because more so than Martin Luther King, because Malcolm X, I'm getting there. Malcolm X, some people don't describe him correctly as being violent, right? There's a very small part of his literature. He was very big on trying to get black America to succeed despite despite the white liberals.
Yes.
And
Not the white liberals.
he did say white liberal. Well, you go look up the Malcolm X white liberal quote. And so I think that's interesting. Just think about it. Malcolm X warned against white liberals owning black America for their own gain, which is exactly what BLM is.
Okay, so back to my initial point. You don't believe that my truth can be different than yours specifically
No,
based on race?
experiences can be different, but there is always a truth. I'll give you an example. We all might have 5 different opinions of a car crash, right? But eventually a truth will be revealed of what really happened. Does that make sense?
So you believe that your truth is the truth that you have found yourself is the ultimate truth?
I would hope so. Yeah. And I'm willing to learn. Otherwise, I think Malcolm X will teach us a lot right now. Yes.
What do you think about like the 1960s and 70s militarization of the police? The shift in the police?
Yeah, I mean, I'm generally very pro-police. What about the military? I mean, the question is what came first, and I honestly don't know the answer. Was it the rise in crime, or was it the police that went into the
If you knew what you were talking about, you would know the answer.
That's not so clear.
Well, then school me.
Because there was
Tell
a
me,
massive crime
you dumb
wave
bitch.
in the 1970s in New York, where a lot of New Yorkers demanded more police with heavier weaponry
Smells
and the
burnt
ability
because I
to
burned a tortilla.
enforce the law.
And post-militarization of the police, crime?
Fail.
And then it went down in the 80s. Violent crime went big time.
You know how to cook?
Talk about the 10 years right after. What happened there? What do you think?
You put the tortilla on it and you have to keep flipping it.
Between police officers being militarized and more people committing crimes.
Over militarization of the police, yes, is
Why?
not exactly.
I hate her.
committing
She's an
crimes,
idiot.
People being arrested for crimes.
Okay.
They went into jail for minor
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
crimes.
I can't disagree with that.
The prison system, I mean, we account for.
Yeah, I mean, why do people go to prison, right? Because they commit crimes, so. Okay, how many genders are there?
Many, it's actually like quantifiable.
How about a number? Quantifiable, good.
No, it's so many because.
Give me a number, any number.
Okay, well, the way the data breaks down, this is why you don't understand it.
Number.
There's so many, the way that
So many not number.
chromosomes actually break down with intersex genders and the way that it actually happens, that is the starting point that you learn in like 5th grade, but when you actually do real experiments, you learn that the way the data breaks down when it comes to.
Can you give me a number or not? Number?
A number? You have 2. That's 6th grade science. When you move on, there are hundreds of different categories.
So what you learn in 6th grade becomes less true as you get older? Like gravity becomes less true?
That is a basic building
Newton's
block
third
that
law
children
becomes
learn
less true?
in order to understand the concept of gender. When you break it down into actual
Gender and
experiments
sex
when it
are
comes to
directly
chromosomes and sex, it breaks down into hundreds of different categories that actually differentiate between just 2 genders. What you're saying is there are facts and you don't believe in there being.
Yes, I am saying that there are facts.
This is a scientific fact that if you talk to any biologist will learn.
So in biology, they teach you that there's XX and XY chromosomes. So give me a number of how many genders there are.
Hundreds, many of them.
Unlimited, right? So it's anything you want to be, anything you feel.
No, it's what scientists determine given specific categories.
XX, XY.
Why do you need a number?
Bingo. Why do you need a number? That's a great
You
question.
literally have no idea how it works. You're
Because then you
using
can self-identify as anything you want at any time.
literally biologists are saying this
Oh,
is the way the interaction is right now.
so you would accept the argument that you can self-identify to be anything at any time.
Yes, because literally biologists.
That's what's wrong with not having a number.
There are hundreds of different numbers.
So why
Hundreds
not?
of different ways of gender and
So
sex.
like I said earlier, I could be a bobcat, I could be a fox, I could be a snake,
Literally not even the case.
I could be anything.
No, you are literally saying
So-
that people not the actual.
XX, XY, 2 genders, 2 sexes, they're directly
You're just
related.
repeating words over and over again.
Because it's true and you're not disproving it.
I am.
How?
Like seriously, there's nothing there. No, I know, but it's more.
She keeps interrupting.
Maybe
It's good. I like it.
things
She doesn't like my
about
face.
here and say these things more than I think I'm going to convince him.
I hear you.
I hear you. Because I think it's mainly to just have in here, like, if you're gonna come in here, you're gonna be uncomfortable. You're gonna have to put up the advice. You're not doing. You're really quoting super basic shitty science that is just meant to teach.
But okay, but again, you don't have a number. I just want to recap.
Hundreds. There's
Hundreds.
hundreds of
So where would you
different
put it? Okay, so the data breaks down into 2 very simple predominant categories, XX and XY. And that's no? Oh, so there's not male and female.
I mean, to a certain degree, but there are different ways that breaks down. When you actually get into sex and gender and X and Y chromosomes, it doesn't just break down into it. There's many different ways.
And how would you categorize society? Do you think men and women are
Well, you go by
categories?
specific scientific criteria and then go off of what that study and that information actually says. You see that information breaks down into much more difficult and complex things than you can just say in 5 seconds or 2 different genders. I think what happens is you don't understand science and
Oh, I
scientific
don't. Oh,
backing.
okay. So
And you just want to
So I-
go forward with like fascist simple.
fascist simple, here we go, that's.
That will keep you.
So what is fascist about saying there's 2 genders?
Is you're just being completely non-faithful to what actual science is telling you.
No, science is quite simple. That
Your
there's a difference.
oppressive narrative
Oh,
of how you
oppressive.
think
So
gender
now I'm
is.
oppressive. How am I being oppressive? The truth comes out eventually. So, how am I being
Yeah, you're
oppressive?
being oppressive.
How am I being oppressive?
You're being oppressive by denying people the ability to have.
How have I denied anyone anything? Okay, denying people identity. People can identify however they want. I'm only going to use 2 genders. That's the way that let's.
Eventually, you're the problem, and you're gonna get pushed out of the
Somebody
way.
does not identify by like a female or male. You can identify them as an animal. You were saying that.
No, I haven't said that.
You could identify yourself.
I think that screen is wrong for where your type of people are.
No, I
gonna-
asked if I could be a bobcat.
They're gonna say
Somebody said
that's
yes
actually
earlier, and you
not-
said no.
You're a bobcat.
I'm a bobcat. I can be whatever I want to be. I could be a tree. I could be an 85-year-old person. Why not?
Alright, I'm late class. Have fun, bobcat.
Okay. So who ran Gaza up until 2005? No. Israel did. Israel used to occupy the Gaza Strip. 10,000 Jews left Gaza. The IDF totally withdrew. Why did Israel do that? To pursue peace. Because they were promised a peace deal if they got out of Gaza. Then Hamas took over as mayor of Gaza, and it's now a hot tub for terrorists, where there are thousands of rockets every single month. Exactly. Israel signed a peace accord, and the PA violated it. So this is the way peace. They weren't occupying; they got out. Correct. No, but they got out on a condition of peace. So they said, we will get our 10,000 Jews out of Gaza. So 10,000 Jews used to live in Gaza. Well, so who is Gaza's territory? Whose is that? Egypt. It's been Egypt for 2,000 years. Okay. So since you understand this, maybe how did Israel win back that territory? Right. So in the 1967 war, they pushed back Egypt all the way to their borders, and so they gave up the Sinai Desert in pursuit of peace with Egypt. That worked. So then they kept the occupation of Gaza, which there's factories and rolling hills and vineyards, a lot of wealth there. There's 2 million people that live in Gaza, more or less. 10,000 Jews lived on the eastern skirt of Gaza. So in pursuit of peace, in the 2005 peace talks, Israel said, you know what? We want peace, and as a condition, we'll get out if you guys have real peace with us. Stop launching rockets, stop building terror tunnels, stop killing our children, all these sorts of things. Are you pro-Hezbollah or? Sure, happy to. Plenty. If you're going to argue from authority, that's a logical fallacy. Tell me why I'm wrong. Don't tell me how many degrees you have. I'm actually, I would argue I'm more informed because I didn't go to college, and I've traveled the world, and I've met with world leaders, and I've read many books. So tell me, how am I oppressive? Can you name one example of how I'm oppressive? Can you name one?
Do one.
Name one example of how I'm oppressive, because you just said it. Well, no, they just don't have facts. Can you tell me one time that I've been wrong about anything I've said? Tell me a time that Israel has launched an offensive war. They're attacking Hezbollah. It's within their borders. Hezbollah occupies southern Lebanon, which is Iranian funded, is it not? Anytime. Maybe if you didn't go to college, you would learn more.
Ooh.
Here's the thing. Like, IDF is a terrorist organization.
The IDF is a terrorist organization.
No, according to a lot of people.
Wait, hold on a second. The IDF.
But like a lot of countries around.
Why is it that they haven't built a new store hospital in the last 5 years? Hundreds of millions of dollars poured into Gaza. It's because Hamas runs Gaza right now, and they're a terrorist organization. So Israel got out of Gaza in 2005 in the pursuit of peace. 10,000 Jews were actually forced out of their homes in the pursuit of peace. Gaza got more dangerous, became a hot tub for terrorists. You know where Hamas's money is being spent? On terror tunnels and rockets being shot towards Tel Aviv. Where were those 2 rockets shot 2 weeks ago? They were shot out of Gaza. Yeah, 2 rockets. Oh, what's the big deal? Yeah, who cares when Jews have rockets shot at them, right? Because Israel is fighting a defensive right for its own national sovereignty. All Israel has done since 1967 is go backwards. All Israel has done.
Israel did not allow them to enter Gaza because they said the visa wasn't valid, and that was published in an Israeli newspaper.
Okay, so I'll have to look into that. If that's the case, then I'll say that you're correct. But here's the question, though. So Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East right now. They're practicing democracy. Muslims, Jews, and Christians. Well, they can. Hold on a second. First of all, many Palestinians in Palestinian Authority, that is in Zone B, not Zone A, can vote in elections. Secondly, here's the question. You want them to be able to vote both in PA elections and Israeli elections? Why hasn't the PA had an election in 12 years? Mahmoud Abbas is a dictator of the PA that uses the money and the aid that we give him to enrich himself. Mahmoud Abbas, hold on a second. Hold on. Oh, hold on, but I thought he was democratically elected. So why don't you guys have students against the Palestinian Authority, not students against Israel? The Palestinian Authority... Palestinian Authority was democratically elected 12 years ago. Mahmoud Abbas has not had any checks and balances against him. In Nablus, he lives in a 25,000 square foot mansion. Here's the bottom line, is that Arabs are better served under an Israeli government than under the Palestinian Authority government. Arabs are... I'm sorry, what? Wait, I'm sorry, what? What? A majority of Palestinians end up dead? How dare you say something like that? There's 15.5 million people that live in the Palestinian Authority. Half of them end up dead? So you're trying to tell me that 7.5 million Palestinians have been killed? Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, it's like, so 3.5 million is if you count the PA in Israel. You're right, it's more 6 million in Palestinian Authority, 9.5 million in Israel proper. So it's about 15 per month. So 6 million, so you're trying to tell me 3 million people have been killed? 3 million people have been killed by the IDF? That's not even close to being true. So let me ask. Then build it out to me. So let me get this straight. You don't hate Jews, you just hate the Jews' right to exist in their homeland.
Okay.
Wait, hold on a second. That's one of the worst identity politics arguments. Just because I'm not something, it doesn't make me wrong.
That's not in line with conservative politics.
How so? Why can, let me ask you a question. Why can Christians freely practice their religion in Israel, but Jews can't freely practice their religion in Palestinian Authority? What happens if an Israeli citizen goes into Bethlehem? What happens if a Jew goes into Bethlehem? If a Muslim goes into Jerusalem, they can go to a mosque. That's what happens. Al-Aqsa Mosque? Well, hold on a second. They have full access to Al-Aqsa Mosque. I was there myself. I was around 500 Muslims on the Al-Aqsa Mosque. Hold on a second. Jews' heads are cut off in Hebron if they go to Hebron. Jews and Israelis are not allowed in Palestinian Authority. So I was in Hebron 2 weeks ago. You know what happens? If a Jew goes to Hebron, their head will get cut off. Well, so Jews are not allowed in Temple Mount. You know that, right?
No, I'm saying Palestinian Muslims going into Al-Aqsa.
Right. So it's very hotly debated.
No, actually, when I was there, I was praying at Al-Aqsa, and I saw this IDF soldiers coming in while I was praying.
Did they stop you? Did they stop you from praying?
They throw like tear gas.
No, they don't. Not Al-Aqsa Mosque. Did they stop you from praying?
I shouldn't be in here while
But they don't do what you say they're doing. I'm just telling you, it's not true. Did they? But I don't think you're representing reality. So let me ask you a question. Okay, that's a really interesting point. So Jews should be allowed in the Temple Mount. Because the Muslims don't allow them on the Temple Mount right now. So Jordanians control the Temple Mount. Oh, okay, so
why are you screaming, lady?
Do you think Jews should be allowed in the Temple Mount? So you don't think it's a Temple Mount, because if you do, that's the very interesting thing. If you just say it's a Temple Mount, I'm putting you admittedly in a very difficult position, because Muslims do not recognize it as a Temple Mount. No, it's not. Since King David, thank you very much. So, I mean, you can say whatever you wanted to say. It's a huge point. It's actually it's one of the biggest inhibitions of peace. I think that Jews and Muslims and Christians should all be allowed to go to the Temple Mount. Right now, Muslims do not allow Jews to go into the Temple Mount. One rabbi is allowed to go in once a year. That's it. That's the treaty. Why how is that fair? Why are Jews not allowed to go? But Muslims are allowed to go to their holy site. You just said you were allowed to go. And if that's the case, then I'll totally denounce it. But you're a living example that you were allowed to go.
You create a company that's like close to being a fascist, and then
how am I? Let's go through this. How am I a fascist?
Dude,
Can you name one thing I believe that's fascist?
You believe that you want.
Dummy. You big dummy.
Fascist. I let the people who disagree in open mic to talk to me for 2 hours uninterrupted.
Okay,
I'm an awful fascist. I'm more like a free speech liberal of the 1970s, not a fascist.
But I just want to say Turning Point USA is a evil company that was funded by thousands of fracking companies, and that's just...
No, it's not thousands, but we do have some frackers that give us money. But
yeah, and then all it is making the rich more rich.
Fascism to fracking.
That's all it is. That's all it is.
Okay, again, I'm happy to have a debate. I can see you're getting kind of fired up.
I'm sorry.
So, but why are we evil? We're having a nice discussion.
Because you're calling me. Because it seems like you just want the rich to get even more rich.
We haven't talked about the rich at all. I mean, so you don't even know my positions on this stuff at all. And by the way, just so we're clear, the wealthiest counties in the country all vote for Democrats. You know that, right? 8 out of 10 of the wealthiest counties in the country vote for Democrats. The wealthiest people, absent Elon Musk, are all on the left. Jeff Bezos, George Soros, Mark Benioff, Mark Zuckerberg, Lorraine Powell Jobs. On the left, yes. The richer you are, the more likely you are to be a Democrat on the left.
Explain it to me, please.
The numbers speak for itself. The Democrats are the party of the oligarchy. Can you name one tech CEO outside of Elon Musk that is a conservative?
I personally think Peter Thiel.
Yeah, that's one. That's one.
Well, then he did it,
Larry
Charlie.
Page, Google, on the left, worth $120 billion. Sergey Brin, Google, $130 billion on the left. Lorraine Mackenzie Bezos, Jeff Bezos.
If they're on the left, what has they done that was like quote unquote to do the left stuff?
Well, okay, so Larry Page gives money to left-wing NGOs all the time.
Like, if you're on the left, I don't think you'll ever be this rich.
Well, they are. You know why? Because the left.
Because they're not.
No, because they're not. The left is a scam. The left uses.
How is this?
Let me tell you why. It's a good question, actually. The left uses people like you that think that, oh, we're going to fight the rich. Well, they protect their oligarchy. While you guys have to keep on working hard and never own anything, when we conservatives are the ones that actually want to restore the American middle class and bring jobs back to this country. Let me finish. The left uses people like you every day, and they use people on you, like the trans thing, the abortion thing. Keep voting for us because the fascists are going to take your rights away. When who's funding the left? The richest people. George Soros. You know who George Soros is?
Who is funding? Dude, I have never seen a leftist organization come to campus spreading their propaganda.
Well, because the whole university is a leftist organization.
No, it's not. It's liberal. There is a clear-cut difference between a leftist and a liberal.
You're coming after this in a good way because I'll just say Democrat politics, okay?
Okay.
Almost every major, powerful, wealthy person in the country, over $100 billion in net worth, with the exception of one person, Elon Musk, is on the cultural left and gives money to the left. Mark Zuckerberg gave $400 million in the 2020 election to help get Joe Biden reelected through the Center for Technology and Civic Life. Mackenzie Bezos.
That helps his case, obviously. You donate money to his...
Oh, okay, but hold on, one second. But Mackenzie Bezos with $45 billion, major Biden backer. Lorraine Powell Jobs for $20 billion, Steve Jobs' widow, one of the most radical left-wingers in the Emerson Collective. Mark Benioff from Salesforce for $12 billion, one of the most radical left-wing guys that you'll see out there. The eBay guy, Ovidor, one radical left-wing. It's so important for you on the left. You guys are being scammed and gamed because they talk a good game about building the middle class, but it is not the party of democracy, it's the party of oligarchy. And you can go fact check me tonight. Okay. You might actually have cognitive dissonance. Type in this, wealthiest counties in the country, they almost all vote for Joe Biden. Who gives the most political donations to the left? All the wealthy people. Go look up the top billionaires on the Forbes list, the top 100. Only about 10 of them give to Republican, the other 80 give to Democrat, the other 10 don't give at all. It is mind-blowing when you realize the shift in power the last 10 years. Republicans used to be the party of the rich. You know what changed? We nominated a class traitor as our nominee, Donald Trump. As soon as Donald Trump became our nominee, all the billionaires said, we don't want him anymore. He talks about things we don't like. He wants to end the wars, close the border, bring jobs back to this country. We want to keep on supporting a political party that doesn't want any of that stuff. Explain to me how Joe Biden represents the working class in this country. He doesn't.
He very much supports the unions.
It's a so. Oh, hold on a second. The union or the union bosses? The big difference. The union bosses supporting the rank and file love Trump. The UAW loved Trump more than Biden. The carpenters union loved Trump more than Biden. The police union. The point is this, is that the Democrat Party, they are sitting on a house of cards of young activists that truly want to go like crush the rich. And there is some truth to that. Like there's a very rich oligarchy in this country that remains rich and stays rich off of gaming government systems and public policy. And you guys give them a free pass. Because you think that we're fascists, when in reality, we're the ones that are actually fighting to destroy the oligarchy the most.
Alright, last point. Let's say, so you do want to fight for the American middle class, and
yes.
Okay, how does freer the market helps with the middle class?
Again, I want precision in free markets, but
How does free market support the middle class?
Again, I'm not puritanical, but I think that generally more choices are a good thing. I think that generally supporting entrepreneurs is positive, but I think that mass immigration is really bad for American workers.
There's no mass immigration.
Well, first of all, how many people are... Wow. Well, you're right. There is mass invasion, but how many people are coming across the southern border every day?
Yeah.
I don't know, but like,
No,
it's
I'm
not.
actually genuinely curious. Can you guess?
Okay, on what time frame?
Every day.
Every day? 500?
Yeah.
What?
It's at low points at 10,000 right now. It was 15,000 last month. So what is that annualized? Let's play that out.
A lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So that's mass immigration, right? How many green cards do we give out every year?
Probably a lot.
Yeah, a lot. About 1.2 million.
Well,
right?
what's wrong with giving out green cards?
No, you said there's no mass migration, so I'm just
Okay.
trying to tell you, we do have mass migration, right? We have 3 million on the southern border, and then we have 1 million green cards, right? That's 4 million a year, right? Which is basically bigger than most US states. Now, everything comes with a cost. When you have mass migration, you're gonna get lower wages. But that means you're gonna disenfranchise American workers. What, are you studying computer science?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, so you're an American born, I'm guessing, American raised? I don't want to
I
assume.
wasn't, but
Okay.
I moved to the US.
Okay, well, you're an American now, I guess. I don't know, maybe
Yeah,
you're
I
a
am.
student visa. Okay, you're gonna now have to compete. You're kind of proving my point, but that's a separate issue. You're now gonna have to compete against foreign labor for your computer science jobs. I think we have a moral obligation to American-born workers to give them preference and priority and restrict the labor supply so that our computer science majors can have higher wages, not to have suppressed wages so some tech CEO can bring in a bunch of Indians and suppress their, no, not against Indians, but just, bring down their wages.
Personally, I just think that, like, if you came to America and then receive a green card, I think you get to work however you want. Like,
Okay, I think that American-born citizens.
and then there
should
shouldn't
get-
be a priority because they are American citizens.
Oh,
As
that's really different. I actually think you must have a priority to your own citizens, or else you don't have a government. You have something else. If you don't have a priority to your own people, I don't know what you have. You have a colony, not a country. You're just a big economy. And that's fine, if that's your position. By the way, your position is held by the ruling elite. Where I think that we should have a country, not just a colony, where the American-born citizens should be given preference over foreigners. Nothing against foreigners, I think they're nice people, but the Americans should be given first preference. And by the way, any sane country believes that. We're like the only country in the world that says, and certain European countries, come on in and take whatever you want.
If the Constitution was written to benefit only white people, why is it that Asian Americans are the richest people by race in America right now?
Because the Constitution wasn't written to make people rich.
Was the Constitution written in Korean?
The Constitution was slaves.
Yeah, yet Korean Americans and Vietnamese are actually benefiting the greatest from this American experiment.
Actually, in California, as a direct result of Asian success, there were laws passed that stopped Asian Americans, or Asians period, Asian immigrants, from being able to become citizens or own land. As a direct result of Asian success. So no,
You're-
like structurally there have been so many roadblocks.
So you're proving my point precisely?
No, I'm not.
So your point is that we were racist against Asian Americans and now they're the richest in America, so they went through a vast time of inequities and they rose above it and they're much richer for income and wealth than white Americans.
No, that happens because Americans realized that they f***ed up and they lost all of the labor that was going to be possible for people to work on farms in California in order to exploit the land that was in California. There was no way for them to have people to work there, and that's why they brought immigrants back. That's why.
So what social program is designed?
We're literally built in our backs.
That again, swearing and saying things like that doesn't make your argument any more valid. But
Okay, but it helps me take out a little bit of my anger.
that's fair. So
Because you don't have an argument.
But then
When you have to cuss in a conversation,
if
you
it was
lost
raised
the
for a
argument.
specific group of people, Asian Americans are the richest by race. The second are Indian Americans, people from India, and the third would be white
Yeah,
Americans.
I'm aware.
Yeah. So how is why is that?
How do you feel about chronology?
Why? So why? No, explain to me why that. I can tell you why it is
Maybe
though.
the top 1 or 5% are the richest. What about the global south? What about the poverty? What about the lowest?
What about the? Okay, so let's talk
the
about.
lowest 50%? What
In
are
America
their-
or globally?
Yeah, no, in America and globally, as well
Okay.
as globally. What's their racial background?
Well,
What's the
I mean-
racial demographic of that? Mostly people of color, not white people.
But the Asian Americans are at the top of the socioeconomic ladder
A
relatively.
very small number. number.
No, in the aggregate. In the aggregate. You look at the way the data is compiled and presented to us, they are the richest per capita group by race in America. Why? Because over the last 50 years, Asian Americans graduated from high school in record numbers. They did not commit crimes.
Smarter than me.
Okay. That's an that's a racist argument you just made. I'm not going to get into eugenics, but you just said you're smarter. I don't think that. I don't think any race is smarter. Because okay, so the two groups that are poorest by race in America are Native American Indians and African Americans. We've done the most to try to help them over the last 50, 60 years. We have the Bureau of Native American Affairs in the federal government. We spent $22 trillion in the federal government trying to help Black America, and Black America is poorer today than before.